you're buying a house in Toronto, don't take more than what you can chew. Overall, to be honest, I don't think Canada is as interesting. I still think Canada is kind of boring, to be honest. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ebun. If it's your first time stopping here, you are welcome. Talk about consistency. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well. If it's your first time here, please subscribe, leave me a comment. I always respond to all my comments. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about pros and cons of living in Toronto. I think I moved here now for almost a year right now. I think I have one or two things to say about this. If you're interested in listening to what I'm going to talk about, please be interested. Continue watching. The first thing is diversity. Not only even in Toronto, literally in all of Canada. Canada is known for like the whole immigration stuff, so lots of people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different countries are here, so it's really diverse. And with that, it just feels good. You don't really feel inferior or like out not really fitting in, because you can literally find your own here. Whatever country you're coming from, I'm sure there's someone that represents you here. There's different events, like there's one Caribbean festival or something, if I'm not mistaken, but basically it allows people express themselves, and it's a very, very diverse country, and that's a good thing. There's some countries that you migrate to and you're not free to do certain things that because you don't feel like you belong, which is not really the case here, so that's really good. Now with that point brings different cuisines as well. So because it's really diverse, you see different types of restaurants: African restaurants, Lebanese restaurants, Chinese restaurants. Different kinds of restaurants are here, even Indians, right? And as well, even at the grocery stores, there's African grocery store, for example, where you feel like if you're Nigerian, you actually feel like you are, I won't say Nigerian market because it's not like Nigerian market, but you won't feel too far from home because you can get whatever it is that you want here, although it's expensive, right? But still they're available whenever you have those kind of cravings. And there's also like I said, different cuisines, different restaurants that can actually fit your appetite, or I don't know the word, I'm looking for the word, quench your appetite. Basically, if you're searching for a particular type of meal from your culture that you really like, you definitely find it here. Now for the African, whether they cook it well or not is another situation, but you can definitely find it here as well. Different cultures, different cuisine, and also if you want to explore, if you like to try other people's cultures and try their food and stuff like that, you definitely have the opportunity here as well. I want to talk about winter, right? Winter in Canada is already crazy, but at least in Toronto it's mild, right? It's not as crazy as Calgary. It's not as crazy as Saskatchewan. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's not as crazy as those other provinces, right? So I mean, we kind of get it last. Maybe Calgary gets it like first, right? So like the snow, the winter is not as harsh as those other provinces up north. If you think that you cannot handle that, then move to Toronto. You don't have to move to Toronto, just move to around like Ontario. There are different cities in Ontario: Windsor, Ottawa, Toronto, Oshawa, different places. So it doesn't have to be Toronto, because I know Toronto is expensive, which we'll get to later. But winter here it's still bad, but it's not as bad as, we don't have it like as bad as other provinces, which is crazy. Maybe Alberta, let's say they start getting their own snow and winter from like maybe end of September. We get ours, I think last year it started like November, towards November ending, right? Or even, yeah, towards November ending. I think that's around where it started, like December-ish. So you can imagine, that's just one good thing about Toronto. The art culture here is really nice as well. There's also the public transportation, so the transit here is good, but it also depends on where you stay in Toronto. If you stay in downtown Toronto, of course it's like so good. Where I am, it's good, but it's also kind of a little far from some places. But I mean, it's better than Oshawa, it's better than some other places that you go. The transit here is good overall, it's really good. The buses can come like every 3 minutes, every 5 minutes. I think it's every 5 minutes you can get a bus to get you to where you're going. So if you miss the bus here, if you wait for 5 minutes, another one will come, which is the same with like the trains, the subway. You have transportation. Yeah, it's really good. The transit here is good. It's not as amazing. I don't think it's as amazing as London, UK, or New York, but I think it's good compared to other provinces or even other cities in here in Canada. There's some places you go, you know that you definitely have to get a car. If you don't get a car, you're just signing up to suffer. And it's going to be worse if, like, you know, during the winter and stuff. So you know that you definitely have to get a car. But here, if you live in Toronto, especially if you stay like downtown Toronto, you're good. You don't have to if you don't want to. It's not like a necessity. It can still be a choice, but it's not a necessity, especially if you live and work, you know, around Toronto area too. So transit system is good. The last thing is, this is the popping spot for entertainment, everything. If you're from Nigeria, this Toronto is equal to Lagos. Just know Toronto is equal to Lagos. If you're from Nigeria, it's like popping. So yeah, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever entertainment it is that you have in mind, whatever it is, you have it here. Overall, to be honest, I don't think Canada is as interesting. I still think Canada is kind of boring, to be honest. There's not much that you can do. Coming from someone that does not really even go anywhere, but still, I know, like, it's not compared to like the US. You have much more that you can do, and I don't know if it's because literally half the year we're in winter. So, so yeah, there's that as well. But overall, like, Toronto is really good with like entertainment and stuff. There are different stuff to do, different options that you can do in the day, at night, middle of the night, weekends, weekdays. Yeah, there's stuff that you can do basically. So now that we're done with the pros, let's move over to the cons of living in Toronto. Number one, it's expensive. Housing is expensive. Now this goes for apartments, condos. If you're even buying a house in Toronto, I give you it's so expensive. And the space, the thing is, the money and the space, like the space you get for that money, it doesn't match. It does not even make any sense. Toronto is expensive with the housing. So if you're planning to live in Toronto, like, you know, buying a house here or even renting, just find a good realtor and tell them your budget. Don't overdo what you cannot handle. Don't take more than what you can chew. Just go according to your budget, according to your size. If you have to live in Toronto, don't stretch yourself too much. And you can get a realtor. I don't think you have to pay the realtor, but I think the person who's maybe the landlord or whatever, the sellers will then give the realtor their cut of the money. I think it's not like Nigeria, because I know Nigeria you have to pay those realtors, but here you don't have to. So don't say you don't want to get one because you don't want to pay. If you don't want to get one, that's fine. I didn't get one to get this apartment, but you know, if you want someone to help you, guide you, find a place that fits you and your budget, then yeah, you can definitely do one. You wouldn't have to worry about the price. Housing is expensive in this city called Toronto. It's really expensive. Apartments, condos, buying a house, it's really expensive. And the space, especially for the housing, like if you're buying a house, it doesn't really make sense to me. The ones that are very big, they're in millions. So yeah. Another thing is the high cost of living. Because I've said the city is expensive, everything else is expensive. Generally, actually, groceries are expensive. Not only in Toronto, like generally, groceries have been expensive. So it's not even a Toronto thing. Very high cost of living. I think if you want to live in this place, like I saw that you have to make at least $40,000 a year. Like at least $40,000 a year for you to be able to live and match the high cost of living in Toronto. I saw that you have to make $40,000 per year. I don't know how true that is, but I wouldn't even doubt that because it's quite expensive. It's an expensive city. The taxes are also another thing that's insane. Our taxes are 13% tax. So for example, you see something, you go to a store, you buy something, or even buying stuff online, let's say is $20. You're definitely not paying that $20. You're paying maybe almost $30. Taxes are crazy. Groceries, that one is general, but it's very high cost of living in this city. Traffic, there can be crazy traffic in the city, which is similar to Lagos, Nigeria. There can be traffic in this city, and that's another thing that is not the best. It's going to be worse. Like, just know when to go out, right? Know the timing that works for you. And also during the holiday season, especially during the summer, because during the winter, because of the winter and all of that stuff, people don't really like, it's not so crazy. But the summer, when everyone knows that summer is getting closer, everybody wants to be outside. Like Canadians want to be outside, so you know, many cars are going to be outside. There's going to be lots of traffic, so traffic is definitely a thing here, which can be annoying. Of course, for me, I've come from Lagos, it doesn't really faze me because I've been through worse. I've been through worse, but I mean, it can still be annoying sometimes. But yeah, I don't know if it's as bad as Lagos traffic is, but I mean, it's bad. It's bad. It can be bad sometimes, not every single time, but yeah, it can be bad. Parking can also be annoying in Toronto, especially downtown Toronto. The parking is never helpful. It's never helpful. People park at the sides of the roads, but even for you to find parking can be expensive, and you definitely pay for parking too. Parking is not the best as well. So most times, some people don't like to. I met some people that don't like to drive downtown. Like they're going downtown, probably use Uber or just use the transit to get to where they're going. Parking can be annoying. Finding childcare, that is one that I thought about, but to be honest, I don't think it's only a Toronto thing. I just think it's a general stuff. If you know you're coming to Canada with your child, you know, say just start searching early, because there's usually a wait list and it's not easy. I mean, I've not experienced it because I don't have a child, but I know finding childcare can be a lot stressful, you know, especially if the parents are working and they really need to get their child into school at that time. I would advise that you start the process very early on, so it doesn't have to be a struggle. So if you have to be on the wait list, you're already on the wait list, and hopefully they call you. Another thing I'll talk about, which is like the last thing, is construction. They're always constructing. There's always something wrong with this road. They're always fixing something. There's always something to be fixed. It's good and it can be bad. Sometimes it can cause a little bit of traffic, right? But I mean, it's good they're always fixing the road. Come from a country where they don't want to fix the road. And so we're talking about it being a con, but yeah, they're always constructing stuff, and it's not even the roads. Constructing condos, constructing apartment buildings, blocking the whole view. Like it can be like one condo here, one condo here, one condo. How do you not have a view? Your view is a condo. Like that can be annoying too sometimes, because there's always construction going on. So yeah, I think I've talked about taxes as well. That's not a Toronto thing, it's just an Ontario thing. Ontario taxes are 13%. I think British Columbia is like 15% or 13 as well. I don't know. I know British Columbia is very high as well. Like I'll always say it's like 5%, like 5%. 5%? Oh my god. But yeah, I think that's all I had to say about the pros and cons of living in Toronto, Ontario. Some of them are specific to Toronto, some are specific to Ontario in general. So just keep in mind, bear in mind, if you know this is a city that you'd like to move to, just get your coins ready and have some patience, okay? Let me know down below if you live in Toronto, Ontario, if you have any pros, cons that you'd like to add to this list. If you have any questions as well, if you have any comment for me, put it down. I would always reply comments, like I always do. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.